Yeah, we actually should restart recording because
Yes,
we. But that would have all had spoilers. I was telling him about
that's true.
Oh yeah, he was telling him about Roadhouse and that he definitely needs to see it for comedic
Yes.
reasons, if nothing else. I mean, good for Jake for pulling him into some sort of shape. And I've heard that he trained as MMA. He's trained, I guess, at one point.
So the scene, it's always in the trailer, but the scene that you see him fighting in the UFC octagon, they actually filmed in between rounds at a real UFC fight, or in between matches.
Okay,
Like months ago, it was like UFC 275, and a
right.
fight had ended. They cleaned the mat, and then they brought in a camera crew, and they brought in Jake Gyllenhaal, and you see him like film this fight sequence because people that were in the arena were
Right,
filming on their phones and
right.
posting it to Twitter, like Jake Gyllenhaal's in the octagon, and I was like, oh yeah, he's filming a new movie. I didn't remember it was Roadhouse, but yeah. So I know that part happened in like not too long ago, but I need to find some time in between my college basketball games to watch this movie.
It's it's listen, I mean, if people like it, good. I mean, I'm not gonna crap on anybody that likes it, but it was just it's well, it's a good thing it didn't come out at the theaters, is all I gotta say. It's just I'm glad it was on Prime and that you don't have to like pay anything extra for it because
As much as the industry has talked about streaming services and movies going straight to streaming, killing the theater, there are a lot of movies that don't deserve a theatrical run.
no, no,
And
no.
I think that like that movies going to streaming has helped a lot of those movies in a sense save face
Like Madam
because
Web should have.
correct.
I don't know if
That
it
should
would
have
have
been
helped
made,
the
but
movie any,
uh,
but it should have never been released
yeah,
in theaters.
because I'm curious how much money. I mean, obviously the movie had its large budget,
Right.
but the money they spent on marketing, promoting its theatrical run, it's like that was just a waste. You could have set the money on fire and gotten the same result.
You
That
could
should
have
have
sunk it
100%
into
just gone to
yeah,
Paramount
the
or whatever.
screenplay for Morbius too. I mean,
Ugh, yeah.
yeah. So it it is what this time of year is now I am looking forward to Monkey Man.
Yes.
I do have passes for that. I mean, that is like completely off topic here on the podcast. Hi, how are you doing? But yeah, I do have, you know, so if
I'll
you
have to
want to see that,
see when that is because I'm very
April
interested.
4th.
I should be
Yeah.
here.
So I am actually I was like,
Should
I
be
was
here.
like, because then I was like, what would really tick off like it would just drive some people crazy. You can fill in the blank on who, but Dev Patel would make a great James Bond. I mean, there's a high Indian
Huh.
population in Britain, and he seems to pull off this action hero thing pretty
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
Now, I mean,
I like it.
now seeing the
The hot
movie,
take, but I like it.
I mean, they are looking for because they've been like floating like Killian Murphy, and I'm like, no, no, he's
Yeah.
wait. I mean, like, I get that he got lean for Oppenheimer, but he's just kind of too lean, I think, you
Mhm.
know.
I
And then
heard
I've also heard, yeah,
Craven the Hunter, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Tyler
yeah,
Johnson.
that he might be, yeah. Which
I'm still on the Idris Elba train, but the same people that would not like your guy would not like
Well,
that.
I
But
was
I
thinking
also
at
think that he
least
might be a
Dev
little too
is
old now.
young
I was
because
gonna
I
say, yeah,
thought, I mean, like I can understand Idris not or them not wanting to go with Idris because they'd be
that
like,
train is
get
passed.
a couple years
Yeah,
maybe, and then we'd
yeah,
have to already start to reach out,
right.
because you're like,
You get
but,
two movies maybe, and then it's like, all right, who's next?
right. But I'm like, Dev Patel, I think he's 36,
Yeah,
36. I'm
I think
like,
that could work. I think that could work. I
and
like it.
and
It hadn't crossed my mind, but I'm fully on board now.
And in the trailer, does he not cut a good
Yes, I
tuxedo?
yeah. The trailer sold me immediately. I don't care what the critics say. I actually haven't even seen what the critics have said yet, but I'm already sold on the movie.
Yeah, I can't wait. That's one of my like I can't yeah, I'm like I'm eager for that one. Then you said we don't have a screening for Godzilla. I'm kind of upset about that, but
Mm,
it is what it is. Um so the real reason we're here tonight though is well, I mean a few things. I mean,
yes,
we could hit the um the news that came out last night. So of
I'm
course,
looking for a new job as an interpreter. I don't know if I can fly out to LA and do that.
have you been working on your Duolingo?
I
Because
haven't, but I'm willing to start.
I wonder how many people have started
Right.
their Japanese their Japanese lessons on Duolingo. Yeah, so yeah, it depending on what story you want to go with, um the interpreter has been fired regardless of what story is to be believed.
Paid off, yeah. Hush money.
um yeah, if anybody watches Shogun, I believe the correct term is seppuku.
It is
Seppuku.
on my list. Every day people have talked about how everyone needs to watch it. I'm going to watch it.
Plus, I mean, you need to because this is your gap for Game of
Yes.
Thrones for House of Dragon, which the two trailers
True.
came out today.
Wait, House of the Dragon trailer came up today?
There was a black trailer and a green house green trailer. Is this breaking news?
I have been watching so much college bat. Like I have been watching
You
so
have
much
checked
college
out
bat.
of life,
I
apparently.
have. I really have. Any other time I would have been on it, but I will have to go and watch those now.
Yes, yes. I had one of my chillins came into was like made sure that she let me know that she's like you need to see this. This is House Black, and they do have a House Green, the green team and the black team.
Ready?
Yes, for House of Dragon, and ooh. So, anyways, back to Shogun,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then back to Otani. Yes,
Yes,
so
yes.
yeah, Shogun you should be watching because it is kind of your bridge gap between until House of Dragon. But now, so the story is the story origin. Should we do the original
The
story?
original story before the exact same reporter changed that story.
Because of Otani's lawyers asked him to change
Yes.
the story.
Yes, correct.
I
Correct.
mean, nothing hinky there,
Very
right?
important detail there.
Nothing hinky
Pay
about
no attention to the man behind the
that at
curtain.
all. Like, don't pay attention to what's happening here. So the original story was that this interpreter had illegally bet in California because betting is illegal in California and owed quite a hefty sum to a bookie out in California and went to his dear, dear friend Otani and said, please, sir, may you pay off my debts? Please,
4.5 million, please.
please, 4.5 million. Uh, mere crumbs to what I have provided
Right.
you. And Otani said, dear friend, I shall give you this money. However, I'm not going to give it to you in cash. I'm afraid you will blow it. Again on gambling. I will write you checks out of the goodness of my heart. Then, and Otani's interpreter was like, thank you, sir. I am also most grateful to you. Then the ESPN reporter said, so this is the story we're going with. And they were like, yes. And so he said, are you sure? And Otani's lawyers said, the Michael or the beep beep backing it up
Exactly.
said no, he stole this money. So
Even though you saw him in South Korea in the dugout with
in the
him laughing
dugout
and joking
with Otani,
with Otani, don't pay attention to that. He stole it from him.
which apparently also the story is that while they were in South Korea and they were in the locker room, I guess before the story had come out. I don't know if that was this morning, this morning. I don't know if that was before this game or the game before. Was he said Ohtani's? I think his first name is Ippy.
Mhm.
Okay, has something to say to you. He would like to apologize to all of you, and that's when apparently the story came out. Now, why was he still there if he had been fired already?
Yep.
So I'm a little confused on the. I'm so confused on the timeline of this. It is like a Marvel writer got a hold of the script and was like, "We're just going to jack the
Sadly accurate.
timeline up here. We're going to confuse you so much that you won't even know where to start asking questions."
Right.
And everybody was like, "Okay, but I think we're all clear on one thing." And what are we clear on? You know what? We can't say that we're saying our opinion is because we
Yes.
would not like to be sued.
Correct.
We
Our
don't have
opinion.
any hard facts. However, the dialogue that is floating out there in the interwebs is of the opinion that
Ohtani is betting on games and allegedly got caught up. And because he is the golden boy of MLB, and because we are still recovering from the Astros trash can scandal, the commissioner had to step in along with the Dodgers and allegedly pin this on the fall guy who was the interpreter, who is not taking questions and is now back in Japan.
I believe everybody has stopped taking questions. I believe the MLB
Yes.
has stopped taking questions. I believe the interpreter, the lawyers, the Dodgers, Ohtani,
Listen, we're just
Ohtani's wife.
focused on the new season. We're focused on winning. We don't want to talk about any of that. Like that.
We are
That's what
very
we're
upset.
getting.
Right. Focused, like it's almost like they made Yamamoto go out there and give up so many runs.
Just
They
blow
were
the
like,
game in
look,
the fifth.
he might like look at what's happening here, but look at how bad Yamamoto is.
Yeah.
I yes. So the discourse out there is that it's just very suspect
Yes.
because there's no way that you are going that the one of the most popular, highly paid international stars of baseball during a time where baseball is suffering viewership and attendance-ship. What we need we need overseas audience. We need to sell jerseys. We need money coming in because look, Bally's is going broke.
Ugh.
Poor billionaires. They don't know how they're going to scrape by. It's very upsetting right now,
Only 10 yachts now.
right? Only 10. So you have the golden boy of baseball possibly betting on baseball. Well, let's even say this. If he is betting, period, okay, back up a second. Baseball players are allowed to bet. They are not allowed to bet on their own sport, but they are allowed to bet on college basketball, college football, football. They are allowed to bet.
Okay.
However, they're not allowed absolutely nothing to do. Nobody they know, they can't even breathe the word about baseball games. That's very clear that ever since 1919, the Black Sox thing, Pete Rose, that is just the big no-no. You can go ahead and beat your wife. That's fine.
That's fine.
Betting on baseball, absolute.
The integrity of the game.
That
That's
is
what
a
we care
bridge too far. Right. Excuse us. You're right. So I don't care how many baby mamas you got out there. I don't care. None of this
None
matters.
of that matters.
Please do not bet on the game. The integrity, right? So, but the other problem is betting is illegal in California.
Oh, that completely. You said that, and I knew that because I was out there not too long ago, and I wanted to bet on some games and realized that I couldn't. I completely skipped over that part. I was just focused on him potentially betting on games. He's betting in a state where he can't.
Where he can't. Okay, so if you are to believe the story that is out there, well, at least the first version, because this is why I kind of like, let's go with the Ohtani isn't the one betting. Let's go with the interpreter is betting. Okay. Yank. I mean, it's not, but whatever. Let's just go with that. His first story about Ohtani gave me money so I could pay puts Ohtani in a very bad position because and that means he is writing checks to a bookie, which is illegal in the state of California.
Yes.
So even if he
Completely missed
himself
that
is
part.
not betting, he is in a little bit of trouble.
And that one, the commissioner wouldn't be able to sweep under the rug because
That's
that's
federal.
exactly, yeah, that's not a baseball thing. That is a federal thing.
Right.
Hmm. I completely skipped. I didn't even catch that. But you're
So
right because I was so focused on the MLB covering it up and the Dodgers and all of that. I didn't even think about the fact that he's betting someone in his camp is placing bets in a state where it is not legal. That is a whole new thing.
right, which means again, he is that's the reason I think when the original story came out and they were this is the version they're going to go with, we're going to go with the interpreter and Ohtani wrote him checks. I think that's the reason Ohtani's lawyers got involved and were like, "Whoo, even that's we can't even have that one because that is a crime and we can't have him like tied to gambling in
See,
because this
that
did
makes more
happen with him like
sense.
with the Angels still. I mean, so
Yeah.
still
I was thinking they came back and was like, no, because if, we go with the first story, he was still associated with betting on games, potentially baseball. And so that's why I thought they were like, he'll still be in some trouble because him writing him the check to pay off the bookie
right,
means that he was aware it was happening.
right.
And because even though he didn't do it, because he gave him the money, that makes him an accomplice. I completely missed that part about it being in California. That is 100% the reason that that story changed. Yes.
That is he that's they are now in the process. I believe all the lawyers with the MLB because the MLB is go they can't they are in panic mode. It's the whole like walking in, it's the community where he walks in with the pizza and the entire place is on fire.
Yes.
The
Yes.
MLB is like, oh my God, like this couldn't have like why didn't this also happen to Trevor Bauer? Like that's like
Right.
we'll just say it's him.
Exactly. It was him. It was him. The fact that it happened right before the season is supposed to kick off and who it happened to, like the absolute worst timing and the absolute worst player for it to happen to for baseball.
Right.
It's like, I mean, I guess technically you could say it was worse if it happened during the season, like right before the playoffs or something. But
It's
besides
bad
that,
when the eyes of the world, or at least good portions of it, because you have the Dodgers playing the Padres out in South Korea, and
yeah,
you're on an international market, and it's the home open or not home opener, but it's the opening kind of baseball inauguration, soft opening, if you will. Yeah, it's not a great look. So we're interested in seeing where it's going to go because at this point, some of it that what baseball can cover up, they will cover up. I mean, there's just
yes,
no doubt about it.
100%.
However, you can have one of two things happen. You can have a journalist that would love to make a name for themselves, actually do their job and dig into this and give you the real story, or you can have somebody in the government who is investigating or, do the right thing. That you're kind of hoping. I mean, it's like you're hoping that
Yeah.
the truth comes out, but
Pete Rose is also hoping because I know he's pissed right now.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but it's it. I mean, it'll play out, and I mean, as it goes on, I guess we'll see where it goes. But okay, so the reason we decided to get together and talk, because like that just blew up last night and we were like,
Yes.
we got to talk about it. Now, I mean, like I'm telling you, people, if you aren't into sports, you're so missing out. It's the best reality show out there, bar none. Because my team decided to go a little eight.
I did not see either of those moves. Well, no, I take that back. The Russell Wilson one, I kind of saw coming,
Yeah.
but
Saw one or the other. I will be completely yes. I saw one or the other. I thought one or the other would happen. I did not see both happening
I didn't have Justin Fields at all on all
because
my list of team. And even after Kirk Cousins got sent to Atlanta and all, I still the Steelers were not on my list of teams. I thought, okay, maybe they're not taking Caleb Williams.
yeah, and that was the thing. But see, that's the reason it was my only thing that I thought was like early on, like even before the season had ended, it was already being talked about that Caleb Williams was going to the Bears. I mean, like it was kind of just known. I mean, like the Bears were doing so bad, and that's what they do is they get quarterbacks and then they ruin them. So like it was kind of like, oh, okay, that's where he's going. And so it was like this was like while the season was going on. So I thought, poor Justin Fields. I mean, he's pretty much being told now, bro, you ain't gonna have a job next season, like you just don't. And I thought, and I said to a few people, actually at my work, ironically, because now I won't have any proof because I didn't say it to anybody on Twitter. So I guess if you don't
Gotta
say
write it down.
right, if it doesn't happen on social media, it doesn't really happen. However, I did was like I just went to this and I put one or the other. I said, oh, I don't know. I could see them taking one or the other. Oh, no, 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 no. But again, one or the other, not both. So like when they signed Russell Wilson, I mean, I'll fully admit I was like, somebody I think even asked me, "Do you see them taking Justin Fields?" And I was like, "No,
What's
because
the point?
what's the point? They'll just draft in 2025, and they'll draft a quarterback in 2025, and then we'll be set back because he'll be still developing." But this also was before Kenny Pickett left, so
That we'll get to where he ended up. Whatever. Continue.
yeah. So like before he left, I thought, okay, well, no, they're going all in for the Super Bowl, and um with Russell Wilson, they're gonna give this old guy, a shot, and maybe he has it because I honestly cringy as I find Russell Wilson, and I
It's
do.
bad. It's bad.
I also don't put the entire onus on his poor performance in Denver on him.
Agreed. Same.
I think he was the focal point of that, but um, I think Sean Payton acted like kind of a little, you know,
Yeah.
while he was there, and I
Yep.
just don't think those you can have coaches and players that just don't mesh philosophic wise, skill wise, and I just don't think those two did, and I think that caused issues for Russell. I mean, I think he was kind of he's on the decline. I mean, there's just no other way to go about it unless he gets some sort of, you know, he needs like a shot of whatever rejuvenation
Joe
serum
Flacco had.
that they give, well, Joe Flacco or Joe Biden before he gives a State of the Union speech, like just
That little,
like then like, oh, you got
yeah,
the life in you now.
just a little
So
bit.
right. So who knows? He could because again, the teams that the Broncos beat last year were, I believe, the Ravens, the Chiefs. They beat impressive teams.
Yeah.
So, but again, I thought, okay, well, it makes sense. They're taking him. He costs a whole $1.21 million for a year. Okay. But when they signed Justin Fields, I I I actually, because everybody keeps like, oh, well, here you go, you got two crappy quarterbacks on okay, well, wait a minute. I think Justin Fields 24, 25. Let's calm down a little bit. Like
Yeah.
he's got time, if you can pull him out, if he hasn't completely ruined by Chicago, um, he's got time to develop. Maybe being under the tutelage of Russell Wilson could be the best thing for him. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm willing to always watch how a season plays out, because I'll tell you, the worst thing you can do is predict it and be like, look like a fool at the end of that anyways, So
I would have thought that after Kirk Cousins went to Atlanta and the other quarterbacks got signed, I thought the next best thing for the Bears to do is just hold on, just draft Caleb Williams if that's the direction you want to go. Still think he's wildly overrated, but we'll see. And then just have Justin Fields there. And then when inevitably a team's quarterback tears their ACL in training camp or
Mhm.
preseason or something, that's when he gets sent there. Like, you know, if Aaron Rodgers runs out with the American flag and then destroys his knee 4 plays into the season, if Justin Fields was still there, they would have traded all their draft picks to get him or whatever.
Right.
So I thought maybe that's what they would have done. But trading him for like a sixth round pick or whatever it was also makes me wonder how the Eagles got Kenny Pickett in a trade and then seeing Justin Fields, what he was traded for. And I'm like, Howie, I can't really slander you because I've got the list pulled up of everything you've done this year and then like the last few years. But how did we get Kenny Pickett and Justin Fields was essentially traded for the exact same thing? Like, I just need to know. Maybe he tried and the Bears like, no, you guys got Saquon. Like, you got enough. You got Devontae Parker and all these other guys. Like, you don't get Justin Fields. But yeah, I saw it come across my banner, and my first thought was this has got to be fake. Then it was like, no, this is real. And then I immediately had to text you because I was like, because we had talked about the Wilson trade,
Right.
no, him signing. We had talked about that the day before or earlier that day, whatever. And so we're like, okay, it's like this is your quarterback. There's no quarterback competition with Kenny Pickett, who was still there at the time, which
Right.
you obviously said. Um, Also, sidebar, stop arguing with her about sports on social medias. Let's just get that out of the way. But we talked about it, and I'm like, okay, Russell Wilson is a Steeler. Cool. Just completely blindsided. I and like we both agree, Russell Wilson is not the main issue. He wasn't the main person to blame for the Broncos, but
No.
he's on the decline.
Sure.
So, as it usually goes when there's a high profile backup, how many games are we going to get with Wilson before you start hearing rumblings throughout the stadium asking for Justin Fields? Because I feel like I think 2 games into
Right.
the season.
And the thing is, if Justin Fields plays 51% of the snaps starting, then it goes from a sixth round draft pick to a fourth round in
So the
20
Steelers have an incentive to play him then.
to play Russell.
Fields.
No, the Steelers will be giving up a
Gotcha.
fourth
Got
round.
it.
They
Yeah.
will
Yeah. Yeah.
trade
Yeah.
it will go from a sixth round to a fourth
Right.
round if Justin
If
Fields
yeah.
plays 51% of the snaps, or starts 51%
Yeah.
of the snaps. So there's an incentive for him not to play. However, I don't think, clearly Omar Khan he did the exact opposite of what John Mozeliak does. And from my understanding, from the rumblings I've heard, is that the Rooneys so kindly called Omar Khan and Tomlin into a nice little room, I'm sure, and said to them, winning 9 games and backdooring it into the playoffs is not the Steeler way, which you can do that for any team, whatever, is not their modus operandi.
Wait. They haven't had a losing record in like so long though. What are you talking about?
Sounds familiar, right? So yeah, that's the big disconnect with the Steelers and the Cardinals right now, is apparently the owners of the Steelers do not like the limping into the playoffs.
Mediocrity, the
Right. They
bare
were like,
minimum.
we are a Super Bowl team. Damn it. Get it right. So Omar Khan this offseason has kind of lost his mind in a good way because he's picked up damn near everybody.
Yeah.
My phone has never lit up more on an off season than this. And they got Patrick Queen, great linebacker. I mean, like that to me was an even bigger even bigger pick up than Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. I mean, he is an LSU kid, so I mean, like I gotta. But I mean, it's been great. I mean, they picked up, I believe, another punter. They made sure. I've heard rumors. I've heard that they have been in talks with Justin Jefferson.
I've seen rumors about him going to a lot of different places. Is there a rift in Minnesota?
Well, he's a free agent,
Because I
isn't he?
feel like there's no way they let him go, right? Like I just that doesn't make sense to me. And he could demand a trade all he wants. Like
right.
I just if he went to the Steelers, that'd be awesome. As long as he goes out of the Eagles division, as long as he's not in Kansas City and not in the NFC East or the Rams.
I mean, the thing is, there's a lot of guy. Yeah, there's. I know. I think isn't Brandon Ayuk? Isn't he a free agent?
I'm pretty sure he is or he will be.
Right. Yes.
No, yeah, because after that Super Bowl run, he and his brother were on social media, which I love social media because it gives you a good insight into the players, but y'all got to put the phones down at some point. I mean, what's his
Right.
name on the Chiefs is pretty much out of a career because he
Ooh,
was dropping
isn't he?
passes anyway, but
Ooh, isn't he though?
did himself
Mhm.
no favors. But yeah, he was unhappy. I think his contract was coming up or is up, but I would have thought if he was a free agent, we would have heard more about him. So maybe it's next year.
Possibly, like
Because I feel like with him being as upset as he was, let's go figure this out. I thought as soon as free agency started,
so. You've got
okay,
Chris
so
Jones, who's already a free agent.
he is.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins has been signed.
Well, right here it says what would it cost what would it cost the Patriots to trade for Brandon Ayuk, and that was 22 hours ago. So are the Steelers trading for Brandon Ayuk? The door appears to be open for the Pittsburgh Steelers to go and acquire 49ers wide receiver.
Because from my understanding, I think also Debo.
I know he was unhappy because he is a running back that was being used as a wide receiver, so he wanted to be reclassified and paid as a wide receiver because obviously running backs don't get paid.
Right.
And that was a whole thing with them. So it looks like both of them might be going, but at the same time, if you're the 49ers, why would you not try to run this thing back? Like, I mean,
You made it to the Super Bowl.
you made it to the Super Bowl, you made it to overtime of the Super Bowl, and honestly, had multiple chances to win. Now, I mean, it could fall apart completely. You see, the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, had a chance to win, and then we started off hot. We started off the best team in football for 3 months and then fell off a cliff, but it's neither here nor there.
It happens.
So maybe that's what they're thinking, like, oh, we got as close as we could. But I mean, I'd be trying to keep it together for at least one more year.
Yeah. J.K. Dobbins is still out there.
He is.
Beck
And so is
Odell is out
Odell.
there.
Not that, I mean,
Tyler
Odell,
Boyd.
I was going to me, I like Odell well enough, but Odell to me is one of the most overrated at his peak.
Right.
He was one of the best receivers in the game. You could argue the best, but it was never without drama, which I know sometimes was not always his fault.
Not
But
always his fault.
I think the whole reach back catch against Dallas, which was a great catch, skyrocketed him into a stratosphere that
He wasn't ready for.
he wasn't ready for. And honestly, like, that was a great play, but they were treating him like he was a generational wide receiver. And I was like, no, he is a very good wide receiver. And like, no, 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 man, man, this is one of the best receivers ever. I'm like, no, no, he's not. He's really not. And he hasn't been healthy. If you bring him on as a wide receiver 3, I think he could, there, out of what, the 17 game season, I think there are specific games and plays where he could really help your team move down the field, but he's really just not worth it to me.
No, no, he really no. Especially, what about Mike Evans?
I would take Mike Evans.
Mm, mm. And the thing, but your thing is like this year's draft has, from my understanding, like every year it's like, oh, this is a great quarterback pool. Oh, this is a great whatever. It's like this is like the year of the wide receiver, and
Yes, that's true. So if you have honestly any draft picks in the first round,
right,
you're probably better off signing a young 20-year old, rather, because I mean, all
Marvin
those guys
Harrison
we
Jr.
mentioned, their best days are well behind them. Who was it? Keenan Allen. Great guy, great beard.
Where did he go?
He got signed somewhere that didn't make sense to me. And to me, Keenan Allen, he is, oh, he's on the Bears.
Oh,
I
oh,
just, to me, as someone who had him on fantasy the last few years, when he's on the field, that's awesome, but he spends way too much time not on the field. So you've got Keenan Allen, Mike Evans, who I like. I say I'd sign him, but it's not anything like, oh, I gotta have that guy. It's like, oh yeah, he's around. I'd sign him. But him, Keenan Allen, OBJ, if I have draft picks, my priority is getting a wide receiver in the draft. And then after the draft, kind of reassess, and then maybe you grab one of these guys. But they are veterans. They've seen it all. They've done it all. So I think they could be an asset to your team, especially when you get like deeper into the season. But if you're bringing them in and thinking you're going to rely on a Keenan Allen or an OBJ or
yeah,
a Mike Evans, I honestly, and I have no basis for this, I feel like Mike Evans is going to have a good year, but I am fully prepared to be completely wrong come September. This is just my gut feeling. Like Mike Evans is going to have a good year, but all these other wide receivers that are free agents that haven't been signed, I'm kind of like, yeah, there's a reason, and like especially with this upcoming draft.
right. Yeah, I mean, it says top 9 players most likely to be traded during, and Brandon Ayuk is number 9. I just
I guess the Niners feel like
will try with the. I don't know.
try with the guys we have and just rely on our defense, I guess, is what they're thinking. But I mean,
What did they do with T Higgins?
did he get franchise tagged?
I think he got franchise tag.
Or no, wait, hold on a minute.
Khalil Mack. No,
T-
Jarius Sneed. Yeah, yeah. I think he got the franchise tag though.
yeah.
But I like I said, I think some of these guys, I think it's you got a lot of teams that are like, you know what, if like again, if they have a high draft or a low, whatever, whichever you want to do, it's a crazy year for, I mean, like you've got. I'm kind of interested in seeing was it Jalen Daniels from LSU
Yeah,
ended up going, who would want him?
that's a good question.
Right? I mean, like who needs who needs one right? I mean, I don't know. Get the Steelers just to go ahead and take him too, because
Just add him to the roster.
I think we've lost all three. I think I think we did. Well, yeah, no, I think yeah, we lost all three. Mason Rudolph went somewhere. They got rid of Trubisky and
And
Pickett's
Kenny
gone.
Pickett is now an Eagle for some reason, which I still don't understand.
Which again, I is confusing to me that he wasn't willing to stay. He wanted out. He wanted out when they picked up Russell, but he's not going to be starting.
He's not going to be starting, and it's not even going to be a conversation.
Like,
Jalen Hurts could come out and fumble it the first 8 possessions of the season, and the conversation of Kenny Pickett will not even be brought up.
no, because his offensive line will go. We've got to get it together. Look who they're thinking about putting in.
Right. No,
We
I'm trying to think
didn't do
where
this. Where Jalen did.
yeah,
I don't.
I like that is like swirling in the back of my head now because I'm like trying to run
Unless
down
the
all the
Bears
teams.
just start picking up, they just start snatching and grabbing everybody. But
What's Zach Wilson is no longer no, Mac Jones is no longer a Patriot.
right.
Who is their quarterback?
No, no, if they have one, maybe they're.
You could go and be the new era in New England. Then you've got Aaron Rodgers is coming back again, unless he runs for vice president. And Zach Wilson is still his backup, which I think you've seen the best you're going to see out of him. You've got Cleveland. No, Cleveland has whoever they picked up. Colts have Anthony Richardson.
Who
Tua.
was hurt last year?
It's true.
The Commanders.
I was just about to say the Commanders, but they was it Tyler Heineke or whatever their guy is. He is decent.
Yeah, because like right now, it would look like that the Commanders would pick him up because he should be going number two, and that's
So he wouldn't be coming in and starting. He would be coming in and holding a clipboard, and then if the Commanders quarterback, who isn't a franchise guy, he's literally a bridge.
did they
He
get rid
could
of
come
him
in.
though? Did the Commanders get rid of their quarter? Look at us, just not knowing anything. Sam Howell. Why do I
Sam
feel like
Howell. That's what I was like. Tyler Heineke. Sam Howell had a decent year. Played his best games against the Eagles, but that's a
right?
division game, so that's expected. I don't think he would beat out Sam Howell for the starting spot, at least not the rookie year. He could, but then you keep moving down. You've got Jared Goff up there.
Yeah, it's.
Matthew Stafford's only got a couple years left.
I'm looking forward to the draft because I think it'll be. I wonder how much. I always love the last minute jockeying for.
Maybe he'll end up, unfortunately, in Dallas, where I'll have to root against him for the
Hmm.
rest of his career.
Well, join the fucking join. I mean, hello. Where did Joe Burrow go?
That's true. That's true.
Like he became dead to me
Yeah, won you a
instantly.
championship and then went to the Bengals. That's rough.
It was like ripping my heart out. Like I was just like, well, I mean, now you're dead to me. Like I
Yeah,
can't. This sucks,
and
but
he's not going anywhere. I mean, unless unless he wants out. Bengals would be stupid to let him go.
did you see how much Joe Flacco signed though for a year?
No.
like 8.6 million. I do not. For 1 year, he gets signed 8.6 million.
I did
Living
see
his
that.
best life. He was just
I
sitting on the couch
respect
a year ago.
him because that playoff run he went on, not this year, the year they won the Super Bowl, that was a contract year for him. The Ravens offered him a contract and he turned it down and bet on himself and then had honestly one of the great quarterback postseasons I have ever seen. Like obviously Brady has his, but I also think the defense had a lot to do with that. But like I think Joe Flacco was averaging like 2.5 touchdowns and 400 yards during that playoff run. I was like, he walks into that negotiating room that next year with all of the leverage. Just walks in whatever number you had, you got to double it because I just won the Super Bowl. And now he comes in after being semi-retired and
Semi, he wasn't. He was sitting on his couch.
right, that's true.
He was.
Comes in after being fully retired,
Bro picked up the
actually
phone.
takes yeah, which they're better than me. Like I get money is money and you just the love of the game, but after years and years of taking hits and knowing you made quite a few millions, to me, once I sit down that first off season, like I'm only getting up to be an analyst. Like
True,
that's it.
and especially because I think I could be completely wrong, but I believe that because he signed for the league minimum.
You gotta just love playing for that. Like there's no chance. And in Cleveland, it's not like you're going to LA or Arizona where it's warm. They said come up to Cleveland, Ohio, and be the quarterback for league minimum. Like you really just gotta love the game
Or the Browns.
for the Browns. And then he balls out in 8 million for one
Eight
more year.
8.6 million for 1 more year. And I
Good for him.
oh, the Colts took him.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Which was kind of harsh towards Gardner Minshew, who I've always liked. I liked him in Jacksonville. I liked him in Philly, and I will admit there was a time when I wanted him to start over Jalen Hurts. Um, I've liked him everywhere he's gone, but I guess he just doesn't do enough to be anyone's full-time starter. Obviously, he was never going to be the starter there because Anthony Richardson was having a decent month before he broke his leg or whatever. But
But
for
he's with
them
the
to,
Raiders now.
yeah, he's gone. I'm sure he'll sign as a backup somewhere because
No, Gardner Minshew? Yeah, he's with the Raiders now. He's $25 million.
I did see that. Why every as soon as you say it, I remember. I remember that because I remember being happy for him.
Yeah, I mean
And now,
he's gonna be. Do you remember like Chase Daniels, the old Mizzou quarterback, like,
yes,
made
career backup making
but yeah,
bank.
buttloads of money playing the bench. I mean, like
Yes,
I you can't even be mad. I mean, like that's
not at all. That's the way to do it.
living the dream. I mean, this man lives in a van.
Yeah,
So I mean, like good for him. But I mean, like again, he's playing back up to. But yeah, no, he's in
Jimmy G is on the Rams now, so I take that back about Jaden Daniels. So he's, I guess, the future after
no,
Stafford.
he can't be. He can't be. I think Jimmy G has got to realize that he's on the backup train.
He is a backup that hasn't come to terms with it yet, and he'll have decent games, but they're not sustainable. And then, I mean, yeah, him, and then I know Derek Carr is also on his way. It was not a good showing for him
But
at all.
oh,
Anytime, yeah, yeah. Anytime you have Devonte Adams and you're not targeting him, it's like you're not going to be here long. And then he goes to the Saints. And, oh, that's another team. I guess he could go to the Saints. That okay? Wait a minute, because I don't think Carr is the most loved person in New Orleans. You've got
mm-mm.
an LSU guy.
But again, Flacco played for the Ravens and went and played for the Browns. I mean, like that whole like people get over it really quick if somebody's
Yeah.
winning, like
Yes. Yes.
um yeah. So Would he be welcome? Probably not. But I mean, like, Jameis is, God bless him. He's he's like the Jim Edmonds. Jim Edmonds apparently he's brilliant bait when it comes to baseball, playing it. I wouldn't even say brilliant when talking about. Well, he can be, but like otherwise, just dumb as a box of hair, you know.
So
And
who's going to be the starter in Cleveland then?
well, they still have they signed the massager to like a huge contract.
Yeah. And then they still now they have Jameis Winston.
They're sticking with Watson. They paid
They've
him way too much, and he was hurt.
and but even when he was healthy, I think he had like a 4 touchdown game, and then everything else was like 1 touchdown. If he had 2 touchdowns, it was paired with 2 interceptions. He was throwing up real Eli Manning stats. For every touchdown, there was also an interception.
Yeah, but they paid him
A
of
lot of guaranteed money.
a lot of money. Yes. Yeah, I'm like scrolling through like I'm like still like who the Steelers have just
Eagles signed Kenny Pickett, don't know why. Saquon Barkley, Paris Campbell, Devontae Parker, who I used to be a really big fan of back when he was young. Albert something at tight end, Matt Hennessy, uh, CJ Gardner Johnson, the prodigal son returns, Devin White, Zach Bond. The, how he was cooking. Okay, so the Commanders also have Marcus Mariota.
mm, I didn't know who was.
He signed a 1 year, $6 million contract.
Mm.
And they signed Austin Eckler, which I think is funny because that man is old.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's great. Like I can't wait. Like I'm looking forward. I mean, as much as the Cardinals have not done anything, I mean, because did you see tonight's the JD Martinez,
Yeah, to
the
up
Mets?
east, the Mets. Yeah,
That's one year for 12 million.
I
I'm
remember when JD Martinez was in talks to be a Cardinal back in what 17 or 18, whenever that was.
I'm not saying Scott Boras has lost his fastball, but the longest all those guys that he had during the offseason, the longest contract was 3 years, and all
Yeah,
of them were wanting contracts up in the area of six
and
to
they were also winning them like 3 months ago.
3 months ago. Like Bellinger was wanting 200 million. Blake Snell was wanting like originally like 270 million, turned down 150 million. Um, yeah, it's I
I
old bro has lost his fastball.
it's wild because there was a moment when he was getting his guys so much money, like just ridiculous amounts of money,
Yeah.
and
And his signing, like his success rate was at like, it was like 95, 98% as far as like getting his guys, yeah, what they wanted. And this year, it is like I don't want to say collusion happened because
I wonder how many people fired, if anyone have fired him as their agent.
I doubt it because I think he talks a great game. He's slimy. So he's
Yeah.
obviously good at selling. And he's like, he's an agent. He's like a step above a lawyer. Like he's
Yeah.
really like it's just. But Jordan Montgomery's still out there.
Oh yeah, he is.
Season starts a week from today. So even if you were to sign Jordan Montgomery right now, he wouldn't be playing for at least 2 to 3 weeks.
Yep. And that's generous. I mean, like obviously they want him to get in as soon as possible, but obviously with no spring training to speak of. Like obviously they post their videos of them working out and
Yeah.
all of that, but
Yeah,
like
but he has to get so many hours of he has to get
exactly.
so many pitching hours, and it's all very great. I love it so much. I love it all so much. I love sports so much. I am this year. I'm actually going to teach myself how to fill out a scorecard, like a score. I've got a scorebook and everything.
Are you taking it to the ballpark for the games you go
I'm
to?
gonna buy the ones they have there. I'll get those like I'll buy those, but I have one here at home that I'll because I watch. Everybody knows I watch every freaking game. Even when I have movies, I they laugh at me because I have my phone up and I'll put my phone and I'll turn on the baseball game on my phone and play it up until the movie starts. So
I've never filled out a scorecard.
I haven't either. I'm teaching. I've been like watching videos and on like the MLB website has a whole like like here's the little shorthand for it all and everything. So I'm gonna. It was like $12 on Amazon,
Nice.
right? So
I'm excited. No, I take that back.
you're intrigued.
I'm intrigued by the season, but I'm cautiously intrigued because are the moves we made, as we said episodes ago, were not winning baseball moves. We've now got, I feel like half of our guys are starting the season injured, so they're not even going to be playing for who knows how long.
Edmund, you won't see him probably until May
Yeah.
because of his wrist. They're going to take it slow with him, so he won't even show up until May. I would imagine so. Newt Bar is probably. I think he's been throwing. I don't know what else he's been doing, but I think like they're optimistic about him, which I mean, I actually it kind of it was. He comes back. You could throw Dylan Carlson plays better out in is it left field? I'm so bad about direction wise as far as because Jordan Walker plays right field, right?
No. Mhm.
I don't know. I just know.
I can't even say because I always get it. If I say it confidently, I'm going to be wrong.
He plays right field.
Yes.
Okay, so left field usually taken up by Newbar.
Yeah.
Yeah, um, but they're thinking like you would be great is like Carlson actually plays better in left field than what he does in center field. Okay. It's not great, but he does better in left field than what he does in center field. So if you have Newt Bar out, you move Carlson over to left field and you have Victor. It's the new one. Is it Victor?
Oh, yeah.
You have him play center field because he's got the speed, you know, and you keep Walker and right, which then you have a pretty decent outfield.
That's a serviceable outfield.
Right. Things don't go like that because then your other options are Burleson, Carlson, and Jordan Walker. You then have a below average getting there.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to be harsh on Walker because he's still 20, 21. Yeah, I'm not going to like he's got, but you could go from good to who's
I
said
am also trying to cautiously approach Jordan Walker's sophomore season because he was one of the few bright spots last year once he came to start the season. Then he disappeared and
right.
they brought him back and he was decent. He was good. But every sport, the sophomore slump is a thing. I don't want people, myself included, to go into the season and being like, oh, he's got a year under his belt. He's a veteran now, and then expect him to be like great this year. Not saying he can't be, but I
Mm-hmm.
think because there were so many negatives last season and he was a bright spot, I feel like a lot of expectations are going to be placed on him to basically save our season.
Yeah, a lot of the young guys that pressure is going to, and that's, but unfortunately, like Mason Wynn, he's got to do a better batting. I mean, he has to, like,
Yeah.
you can't have a 114 or 144 batting air. Like that was okay towards the end of a bad season where it didn't matter anyways.
Right.
But you can't have, he's going, either they're they'll either send him down, like you're gonna, yeah, you can't, yeah, it's April. I'm telling you, I am looking forward to April baseball because it is going to say so much.
Yeah.
It's gonna say so
I'm
much.
going to 2 games so far, and usually I don't go to too many April games because I get cold easily,
Thank you.
and it's still cold in April. But I'm going to the Battlehawks night because I want to get the Battlehawks hat, which is
Right.
not baseball related, I know, but it's the only way I can get that hat. And then me and Sarah are going to a noon game early April, so Wednesday game. I'm not even sure what date that is, but we'll go to that one. And those will be my 2 games for April to gauge how many times I see them live the rest of the season. Because I just, I don't know. I don't want to sound super negative, but after last year, we finally got rid of all of our legacy players just to bring back some more legacy players. Like we got, I won't say got rid of, but Wainwright was finally gone. Pujols and Yachty were already gone. Like the big 3 guys were gone. I was like, all right, there are no excuses to there. We're not propping up anyone's legacy ego. Let's focus on winning. And we didn't make any moves. We didn't really sign any people worth noting. And then we brought in more of our legacy guys. Then we gave Ollie an extension, and I'm just like, what? Okay. So we're now going into the season with the same
Right, with
mind.
the same starting pitching lineup because you lost your ace, you lost your number one for at least, I mean, maybe a week. I don't know. We don't know how long we're gonna.
Right.
But what that leaves you with is an opening series out in California against the Dodgers and the Padres without Sonny Gray.
Mm, yeah, that is.
So
What
our
is
opening, like on the
is
28th,
Michaelis our opening day pitcher?
yes,
Oof.
for yeah, for the Dodgers.
Yes.
This are not our St. Louis opener, but for the openings, yeah, the opening series, our first 7 games are played out there. Well, no, I don't know how many. I shouldn't say that, but at least I know the first 2 series are the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers are for 4 games. I think the Padres are for 3. So those 2, and I was hoping
That could be a rough start to the season.
it was going to
Jeez.
be. Yeah. Well, originally I was hoping that it they were going to be coming right. I hadn't looked at the schedule. I didn't know that they were going to be playing in South Korea this week. And then they're coming back playing a few exhibition games. And then they open up. And then, then they have their season opener because they can't apparently come back and have a week, like a week off of no playing games. So like it's really ridiculous. But I had thought that I thought the games that they were playing in South Korea were going to be next week, which then would make them tired and we had a fighting chance. I discovered that they were actually playing this week and that they would have all the rest they needed because the last games were spring training games, which means they can rest.
I didn't even realize that they were starting. I was at the gym and I was in the locker room and they were talking about baseball, like the not kickoff, but the start of the baseball
Right.
season. And I'm like, this has got to be from last year because it's 6 in the morning. So surely the baseball season, this has got to be a replay. And I started paying attention to it and realized they were on the other side of the globe and
But
the season had started. So now I'm sitting here on the bench at the gym thinking like, did I miss a week of my life? And then I realized, oh, okay.
yeah, no, they just had
We
this.
sent them over there to get the season started, and they figured if the scandal happens over there, then it doesn't count. And when they come back here, it's a clean slate.
I mean, like I love a good conspiracy, but like you start to be like, okay, did he get married because he knew this was gonna happen? And it would be like, but look, I'm so family man oriented, and look at my new
My wife plays basketball. Look at her highlights.
rise. There's a whole new, like I don't. That's that, and that is what we call a full circle moment because
Yes.
with the Ohtani, and we are now ending with the Ohtani. But yeah, so I think we're gonna get back together. Probably talk. I think we should definitely do this again after. I think after the first series. You want to
Yes.
do after the Dodgers? You want to do after the Dodgers and the Padres?
When is that?
Well, it starts 28th.
Yes.
So I mean, we are getting close. It is right. Let's see. Okay, yes. So we've got the Dodgers. Yep. And then immediately we've got the Padres. And then they come home on the 4th to play. So Wednesday, April 4th or April 3rd, I will be seeing Monkey Man.
I will not be here that week.
Oh,
I
wait a
get
minute.
back Thursday evening.
So on the 4th.
I get back the 4th at like 5 p.m. I'll be out of town. Monster's sending me out to do stuff in Dallas. And I begged my boss if I could come back at like 8 a.m. so I could hang out downtown for opening day. And he was like, no.
Oh, boo, boo.
But
Oh no, we're not booing bosses while we're recording. That would not be so great. I'll boo him. What can you do to me?
we've got the Friday, the 5th.
Yeah.
Or honestly, we have that Thursday because I get back. We
Well,
have
that's
that
true, but yeah, we could.
to,
But
to
if
go
we can either
over.
do Thursday night or we can do Friday morning.
Yeah.
But we can definitely assess what we think about the first week of baseball.
I hope I'm wrong. I genuinely hope that we come back on the 4th or the 5th and I can sit here and be like, I don't know what the rest of the season's going to hold, but I got to say we looked decent. But I just, in my heart, that is a rough 2 series to start the season without our normal pitching
Considering
rotation.
today's score between the Dodgers and the Padres was 15-11. Slight,
Yes.
yes.
Have we hit a home run yet?
We did. I will have you know that Paul Goldschmidt hit the first home run.
He did. You did. Yes. Yes.
Pardon.
It's the glutes.
It is so the glutes, and I will lose him come the trade deadline. But
I agree. Yeah. I I think he'll be gone. I think
and I will lose all hope to live, or I'll just lose. Yeah, I'll lose the will to live, and that's fine.
I'm curious about Arenado.
Well, he'll stay because
He did.
signed this extension. But
Yeah.
they could get rid of Michaelis. He's only got a year left.
It's true. I think this team's gonna look different come the All-Star break.
Yes. So 2 weeks. So we are like going to discuss all this on either the 4th or the 5th.
Yes.
Cool beans. All right. So that is it for us tonight. We covered a lot, as always. And he's going to do a nice fancy job of what he's been doing is cutting these all up.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
It's good. We got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
edit between every single topic we've done.
It's true.
Mm. So you have a good night. I'm gonna actually try not to log off this time.
I was about to say, are we gonna get a three-peat
Oh,
of
because I
the
almost hit end again. I don't think anybody's-